Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are from an upcoming fundraiser for the Second Baptist Church, original site, historic site in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. I have Joy Lapp from the Mount Pleasant Historic Preservation Commission. No surprise there. Joy, welcome. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
And one of Mount Pleasant's favorite sons, member of the Jazz Educators of Iowa Hall of Fame, former jazz educator in Iowa for many years before taking a position at the University of Louisville, from which he just retired, and the headliner artist for this upcoming fundraiser, Jerry Tolson. Longtime friend, Jerry, it's nice to see you.
Dennis, it's great to be with you again.
Really looking forward to this event, which is going to be a fundraising concert with some pretty significant star power. Now, Jerry Tolson is star power enough, but you've assembled an excellent ensemble that we'll talk about here in just a minute. But let's start with the church and the building. Joy, I'm going to let you start, then Jerry will bring you in to talk about your personal experience as a member growing up in the Second Baptist Church. Joy, tell me a little bit about the history of this building.
Well, this is a building certainly worth saving. It's the oldest African-American church in Iowa. The original part, there are some additions on the church, but the original section of the building was built in 1843, which makes it the oldest building in Mount Pleasant. It was built as a Methodist church and later moved to the location where it is now when a new, larger Methodist church was built. And it was built in 1843, moved about 1856. And then by 1863, the African-American population of Mount Pleasant was large enough that they founded a congregation and used this church then as for their church, as well as it was initially a school for the African-American students in Mount Pleasant. Then that was about 1863. By 1867, Mount Pleasant had integrated the schools. And so from that time, it was just used as a church for the Black congregation.
And was in service until just about 20 years ago.
Yeah, 2009, I think, is when the congregation moved. The congregation still exists, but they've moved to another building that they purchased in 2009.
And Jerry, growing up in Mount Pleasant, you were a member of this congregation.
Yes, I grew up, my family were longtime members there. My father was a deacon in the church. My mother did some accompanying, played the piano, and my oldest sister did a lot of accompanying at the church before she got married and moved to Cedar Rapids and raised her family there. So there's a long history of my being a part of that church, and I have fond memories of several of the pastors that I grew up with and people that I grew up with in that church.
This building would have a lot of fond memories for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, especially I remember Joy was talking about the history of the building, but when I was growing up, the basement was very unfinished because it still had the coal chutes there, and that's what basically the basement was used for, was storing the coal to heat the place. And then renovations were made to make the basement usable for dinners and receptions and things like that.
And actually, Joy, it's the basement that is job one for your remodeling and preservation project.
Well, we have made some renovations. There was an asphalt shingle roof on the building when we got it, and we've replaced that with wood shakes. And there was vinyl siding, which has been removed, and then we've restored the wood siding. So the roof and the outside look pretty good now. But the basement we couldn't decide, could it be repaired? Did it have to be replaced? And we finally decided it really is in such poor condition. It's made of hollow red clay tile. I don't know if you're familiar with that building material, but the tile is cracking and the walls are pushing in. And so it really needs a new basement if the building is to be preserved.
So one of the activities to raise funds for this is this concert featuring the Jerry Tolson. Actually, is it quartet or quintet? Probably, isn't it, Jerry?
Well, it's the Jerry Tolson Quartet with a very special guest.
Okay. Well, now we can spill the beans. Who's the
Now we
special
can spell the
guest?
beat, yes. And that very special guest is none other than trombonist Delfeayo Marsalis. Of course, if you don't know him specifically, you know the name Marsalis, the sort of first family of jazz, we call them these days, but all of the Marsalis family. But interestingly enough, Delfeayo, the reason why I have such a close relationship with him, did a master's degree at the University of Louisville while I was there in jazz composition with our jazz composition teacher, John LaBarbera of the fame Buddy Rich Band fame. He did a lot of arranging for the Buddy Rich Band. So Delfeayo did a master's degree, and at that time we did quite a bit of work together around town, and we've stayed in touch. And of course, he lives in New Orleans now, and so I called him up and said, "Hey, would you do this concert with us?" And he said yes. And so then we got the right people together. We got Joy's people together with his people, and we got it to work.
The Uptown Jazz Orchestra did a gig in near us last year or so, and we had a nice conversation with Delfeayo. He's a great person and a super player, and also a great entertainer. He's one of the most fun musicians to watch that I've seen in a while.
Indeed, very much so. And of course, he has the regular Wednesday night gig at Snug Harbor with the Uptown Jazz Orchestra. So if you're ever in New Orleans, that's the place to catch him on a Wednesday night. But yeah, it's really exciting. As I said, we had worked with him before, and so this is not really new for us to work with him. But it's exciting to do this concert and to help make this renovation happen and make it possible.
Delfeayo brings the Marsalis name with him, but tell us about the other members of your quartet, because they bring extensive expertise and great playing experience too.
Indeed. On saxophone, we have David Clark, and David and I have been playing together over 30 years. I first moved to Louisville in 1993, and that's the year that I met David, and we've been playing together ever since. He is now the director of jazz studies at the University of Louisville because he replaced the director of jazz studies who retired. And
that
so
would be you.
No, well, I was. People always thought that I was the director of jazz studies, but I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I was sort of the second in charge. So there was another gentleman. His name is Mike Tracy, and he was the director of jazz studies. I did a lot of the outward-facing events, like conferences and public relations. I did a lot of the promotion of events on local media, and and represented the university at conferences and workshops and things. So a lot of people made the assumption that I was the director of jazz studies, but not the case. Just professor. Actually, my title was professor of jazz studies and music education. So because of my background in teaching public school, I taught music ed students and taught pedagogy courses, but I also ended up creating a number of courses that ended up being very popular, such as African American music, which actually became a class that all of the music majors had to take. We were one of the few universities in the country that made that class required for music students. Soul music, music of the Black Church was another class that I created. I had a lot of leeway to create classes because by the time I left, I was chair of the academic wing of the music school. So I kind of had carte blanche to kind of create things that I wanted to teach. So that was cool. But anyway, getting back to David. David is an excellent saxophone player. You can hear him on all of my recordings, which you can find on all of the digital media platforms, of course. Just search under my name. And he also has his own group as well, and does a lot of work with the Louisville Orchestra. In fact, he was a member of the group that won the Grammy Award for the Louisville Orchestra, that recording. So it's a pleasure to always work with him, and he's a very soulful player. And he and Delfeayo have worked together, so I know it's going to be an exciting concert. So then on drums, we have Ted Richardson. Ted is originally from Columbus, Ohio, and Ted has been playing with us for about the last 10 years. We have done several concerts in Mount Pleasant, and the drummer that I used previously up and left us. No, he got a job in Atlanta, and he is vice president of the development office at Georgia Tech University, and so it's a little hard to keep him on the the string to keep playing with us. But every now and then, when we have something out of town, he'll still play with us. But Ted has been playing with us for the last 10 years. Incredible player, has played with a number of different groups, plays all sorts of genres, funk to bebop to straight ahead swing. So very versatile drummer, and I enjoy playing with him a lot. And then our bass player has a strong connection to Iowa because she has relatives that live in Pella, Iowa, home of many of those of Dutch descent. And her family is of Dutch descent. And so she is assistant professor of jazz studies at the Indiana University in Bloomington, which is where she got her doctorate degree. But she also got her master's degree from U of L and was one of my teaching assistants when she was there, and sort of an adopted daughter. We've taken her under our wing, my wife and I, and we have sort of followed her everywhere, and so she calls us her adopted parents. She has real parents, but she calls us her adopted parents. But she's an excellent bass player. She is doing a lot of work, research work, especially in regard to women in jazz. She is one of the early founders of a program called Jazz Girls Day, and that has there are a number of those events now happening around the country, Jazz Girls Days. But she was one of the original people that started developing those to get more attention on women in the history of jazz, but also in getting more girls, young girls especially at the middle school and high school level, to be confident about participating in jazz band, because at those levels, jazz band tends to be very highly populated with men and boys, and so
It's getting better slowly, but still a lot of work to do.
indeed. So she is one of the proponents, and she does a lot of research presentations. She's done a lot of research on that topic. So that's the group.
Well, it really speaks well the legacy that you've had at Louisville. That this band that has so many demands on their time and is spread out all over the country is we can come together and do this gig with you, and and come to Iowa here and perform. What can we expect from a Jerry Tolson show?
You're going to get a mix of things, everything from straight ahead, a little bebop, a lot of hard bop. We like the hard bop era, and so you'll hear a lot of hard bop. You'll hear a number of original compositions. One of the nice things about having your own group under your name is that if you're a writer, you get to write things and they get to play them. I've been very, very fortunate with my band to for them to play a lot of my original compositions. And in fact, very often when I bring something in, they will make it better than I ever imagined when I wrote it. And so you'll hear several original compositions of mine, and I think you'll hear a few original compositions from Delfeayo as well, along with some great jazz standards. We couldn't do a program without paying homage to the tradition of the music, so that's what you'll hear.
The fundraiser for the historic Second Baptist Church building, the oldest building in Mount Pleasant, is coming up on the 20th of March. I think 7:30 is the time. Joy, how do we get tickets?
You can get tickets online. Go to historic Second Baptist MP.org. And tickets are available there, or come to Mount Pleasant and go to Brown Shoe Fit, and you can get tickets there as well.
And I guess we should say the concert will not take place at the church. This will be at University Chapel. That's on the old Wesleyan campus, yeah?
That's correct. And it's a fabulous, fabulous venue. The acoustics, it's a beautiful space, and the acoustics are just fabulous in the old chapel auditorium. Yeah.
Another place that you probably have a little history with. You didn't go to school there, Jerry, but I'm guessing that growing up in Mount Pleasant, that was a familiar venue for you.
Indeed. The campus, in fact, I was just talking to a friend, a high school friend in Mount Pleasant, and telling me about all the changes around the campus since the college has closed. But yes, that's a very familiar building. And with us having done several concerts there when the university was happening, we were very fortunate. The university brought us in 2 or 3 times to do concerts. And so it's a beautiful building, and we're looking forward to it. And as Joy said, the acoustics are wonderful. So, and everybody has a great seat. There's no obstructed views that you have to worry about. So it's going to be a good time.
Well, definitely worth it, and worth the short drive from the northern part of eastern Iowa to Mount Pleasant for this concert. Again, it's coming up on March 20th, 7:30. You can get tickets and more information at historicsecondbaptistmp.org. Jerry, if people want to check out your music or learn more about you in advance of this, or get refamiliarized with you since you have been gone from Iowa, where can they learn more about you and your music?
YouTube. We have a lot of our material and recordings on YouTube, and Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and so you can go there. I have a website, but it's not exactly up to date since I've been in the process of moving, and so I haven't really gotten back to updating everything on there with everything. So I just tell people to go to YouTube, search my name, and you can find all sorts of things. You can find interviews, you can find some of my clinics and workshops, and of course you can find a lot of our music.
Fair enough. Well, great to reconnect with you, Jerry. Joy, nice to have you as well. Again, March 20th, historicsecondbaptistmp.org if you'd like more information. I'm getting my tickets to this because I definitely want to come and see it, and I hope that you have a full house. Thanks so much for being with me today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.